Well, good morning, Red Deer, on a cold, cold, cold morning in the city. But you know, we're in the heart of a warm place this morning. We're here at Aspire Special Needs, and I'm with Deputy Mayor Michael Zaw. Michael, good morning. Great to have you with us, and really great to be able to introduce folks. Joanne Hayden, who's the executive director here at Aspire, and 20 years with the organization. Joanne, it's great to be with you this morning, and thank you for everything you're doing in the community. Aspire is such a tremendous organization, and we're really just so thankful to have an organization like this in the community. So thank you.
Well, we're happy to have you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let's get down to it this morning, Red Deer. We had a busy council day yesterday. Don't let the cobwebs of the mayor or the deputy mayor fool you this morning. It was a long day at council yesterday, but we're happy to be here with you this morning. So go ahead, Joanne.
On Monday, Council received a report and recommendations on the location of the downtown public market. Mayor Johnson, can you talk about what the Council approved?
Yes, thank you, Joanne. It's a very broad question, and so I'll take a few minutes to answer it if that's okay, and I think our viewers would understand that. The public market has been with us for 50 years in that particular location, and it is a treasured community amenity. We love it. Deputy Mayor Daw and I are frequent visitors to the market. You can catch us there any Saturday, if you will. And we love the market and so on in a great way, and the contribution to the Moffat family. It made the issue that came before council so much more difficult and complex yesterday. So council had to make a decision yesterday on the further lease of that particular site, not the farmers market itself. I mean, every councillor spoke in overwhelming support of the need for and the desire for and the cultural impact of a farmers market. But the issue is it best suited on that site when it had two other entities, one belonging to the Red Deer Curling Club, they're the Paderni Center, and the other, of course, belonging to the whole city, which is the Service Arena. So the site itself did offer equity for all three amenities, all three groups, if you will. And that was the very, very difficult decision that council had to arrive at yesterday. What was equity? What was fairness? What was balance in the equation? Councillor Weinches really put it, I think, extremely well yesterday when she says, "You're forcing me to choose between which child do I love best." And I think she really put it very, very well to all council, because when you're trying to make a decision for the community and you're trying to make it in a balanced and fair way and trying to weigh its impact, that's what made the decision so difficult and so painful for many councillors. And I will say, on behalf of my colleague, Deputy Mayor Daw, yesterday, we did not agree on the decision yesterday. But that does not in any way, take away from the great arguments that were presented, for, if you will, or against, if you will, what we decided. So to be specific in terms of what was approved, it probably is, in context, what was not approved, first of all. So what was not approved was the renewal of the lease for that space. It was deemed by the majority of council, I mean the slimmest of majorities of council yesterday, that particular space impeded the progress of the other groups that were in that space and their ability to go about meeting events and bringing more events into the space and so on. However, in the same breath, when council said the lease is not approved, it encouraged the market, specifically the Moffat family who runs the market, it encouraged the family to find alternate spaces, of which there are several in the downtown. And the city, of course, is committed to getting behind the family in terms of public relations, in terms of traffic management, in terms of washroom facilities, in terms of street closures, all of those things. We once again show that we are committed to the market itself, but try to get equity into that particular space. And I think if I could, Joanne, I think it's only fair with, especially with my colleague, Deputy Mayor Daw here this morning. Michael, if you wanted to add any comments, I think that would be fine if you wish to do so.
Well, I mean, I was in the minority on the vote. I feel pretty strongly about it. Something that takes that many decades to build, you don't change it quickly. There's a pattern of being there. A lot of the way that they run it is based on many years of experience. So it's easy to say, we can change it, but I think it's a lot more difficult to actually put that into operation, because every site has pros and cons, and and we're not far away. I mean, the traditional start of the market is the May 24th weekend, so that doesn't give a lot of time to the operators to look aggregation, to deal with the 200 some vendors, and to get that all organized, and making sure that there's parking. Washrooms is another issue, because when temporarily moved the market for 3 years when the service arena was being built, there was no access to hot water washrooms, which was when you're serving food, that's something that was a big issue to a lot of people. They were just the huts, as one of the councillors described them as yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out, because some of the sites have been suggested. It turns out that there were issues with it. So I guess we hope for the best, and hope that it does that, because I think there'll be quite a bit of upset, because you get hundreds, if not on some weekends, you get thousands of people that go down and use that amenity, and I think there'd be a very big public discomfort if the amenity isn't there for whatever reason.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I think, Joanne, that fairly represents the to and fro yesterday, and the difficulty that was in front of council yesterday. I think Deputy Mayor put it very, very well, that we are hoping for the best. I have confidence. I have confidence in our administration, and I have confidence in the operators, and confidence in the community that we can even have a better farmers market. I think we need to, your next question, if you don't mind me saying, it says, what happens next? Yeah. So what happens next is, several things, and Deputy Mayor Daw touched on some of them, which is relocating to the space. But the bigger picture, and all of council spoke about this yesterday, and certainly viewers as well. The bigger picture is the city aspires, no pun intended, Joanne, the city aspires to have a permanent indoor market. That is what we're driving towards. And so we also said to administration yesterday to bring forward in the 2025 capital budget plans as to how that could roll out. And so there'll be a lot of thinking and a lot of opportunity, I think, in the community to look at either a build of a what I would call multi-purpose site, or the acquisition of space, existing buildings, and so on, to have that year-round market. Most cities now have a year-round covered space, a covered market. And so when we think about what happens next, I really think we need to keep our eye on the prize here, and that's the opportunity to have a year-round permanent market in the not-too-distant future. So I hope that that scopes your question. It was an emotional debate. It's an emotional issue, as Deputy Mayor so very, very well put. I'm feeling it this morning, you know, the weight of a decision like that. I'm sure Deputy Mayor is feeling the same kind of weight. But I believe in Red Deer, and I believe that the market will be supported, and we will embrace that same kind of social context that we had in whatever site that we come to next.
Great. Council also had to consider a no objection to a request from the Central Alberta Combative Sports Commission for 2 havoc fighting events in Red Deer. Deputy Mayor Daw, what decision did council have to make relating to this event, and why was it with council?
Well, actually, it's a good reason why is it the council. We don't have a local combative sports commission here, and the province doesn't have a province-wide system of dealing with combative sports. So what happens is there is a commission at Penhold, and so the places can get sponsorship from a commission, but then they have to apply for permission from the municipality to have their events held there. So in this case, there's 2 prospective events being scheduled, and with the absence of a local commission for that, it comes to council to say, do we have an objection or not? Now, the City of Red Deer will not be running these events. They will be run by the organizers and sponsored under an existing commission. But that's the reason why that went through the way that it did, is that it's just a formality that council is just basically saying we don't have an objection to having it, and so that it's being had, because these are, you know, as the name said, I mean, there's a lot of action and involved in the things. So, you know, we have to be careful of safety and things like that. So that's why it's done that way. There have been at the urban municipalities conferences motions brought up encouraging the province to set province-wide rules and a province-wide commission for this. But that's not the way it is at the moment. So,
Was there anything else from yesterday's council meeting that you would like to mention to the viewers today?
Yeah, I'd like to add, Joanne, the proclamation that we just declared on Black History Month, and February is Black History Month across our country, an opportunity for us to take a look and appreciate the economic and the cultural and the social and spiritual contributions of the Black community. I was really privileged a week ago. Deputy Mayor Dahl was with me when we proclaimed Black History Month. And you know, statistically, our new Canadians and new Red Deerians are growing by 2 to 3% a year in our population in Red Deer. So communities, for example, like the Caribbean community, the African community, are growing. The Hispanic community, the Filipino community is growing, and so forth. And many other, you know, communities, the Sri Lankan community, for example, the Sikh community is growing. So our city is changing, and it's changing far for the better in terms of being culturally diverse, being welcoming from that perspective. We're seeing an amazing amount of festivals and events and so on. And you know, you asked me about my calendar before we went on air this morning, and I can tell you that calendar is full of invitations from groups across the city. So it's a tremendous opportunity to celebrate the Black community this particular month. And of course, Deputy Mayor Dawes, our resident historian, you know, we call him our Wikipedia of Red Deer. You have anything you want to tap into? Michael's your Wikipedia. So, Michael, did you want to add anything onto that?
well, I think the Black History Month, there's a lot of them are recent immigrants, but there's also Black Canadians that have roots going back generations now in this area, and there is interest that picks up with that. We had black homesteaders in this area going back to 1906, so that goes back quite a ways. One thing I got involved in, it plays occasionally on the History Channel. It's the story of a black Canadian who enlisted in the First World War. And unlike a lot of the history of it, that they were put into labor roles or sort of support battalions, he actually went into an active battalion, was in the front lines, and was killed in action. And there's a mystery that comes with that is they used to give what they called the death penny. It was a large medallion that they gave for someone that was killed in active service in the First World War. And his death penny was discovered in a backyard in Parkville here in Red Deer. It was found in the garden. And the people that had it then sold it to a collector, and who sold it to another collector, and kind of lost track of it, although there is a picture of it. And part of the story that was with the History Channel was the story of this man who was in the regimental band but also was served in the active trenches. When he was killed, it was a trench raid, and this one person was supposed to go over the top, and he didn't really wish to go over the top that night, so Sam Watts offered to go in his place and was killed. And then this missing the great-great-granddaughter is doing a search both to find out more about the story of her family, great-grandfather, and also if somebody might know what happened to the penny. And so that's the story that has, and every time that it plays, I usually get some phone call, somebody that's watched it, and it's got an element of mystery to it. It's an element of supreme sacrifice for one's comrade, but also for one's country, and really quite a moving story.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Michael. That's extremely well said.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, now that you mention it, Joanne, yes, there is. And, a part of Council's strategic plan, one of the three pillars of our strategic plan is community health and well-being. And, folks, as I said at the top of the broadcast, I couldn't imagine being in a more representative place this morning of community health and well-being than Aspire Special Needs and what they've been doing in our community with kids with special needs and so on from a very professional perspective. So, with our great friends at Shaw's permission, I'm proud to be able to promote your raffle coming up, Joanne. This is really exciting, folks. It's on Saturday, June 17th at Parkland School. Tickets. How did you keep the price? I know I'm not supposed to be the interviewer here, but how did you keep the price at $5? It's pretty amazing, Joanne. You can't even buy an avocado now for $5, let alone a raffle ticket this morning on some terrific prizes. I'm just really thrilled on a couple of points here, Joanne, on the raffle coming up. One is the proceeds go to fee assistance, so you're able to keep fees down for parents. Typically, these would be challenged parents or single parents, for example, with special needs kids. I'd be right about that in saying that?
Yeah. One of the things that we believe in is that everybody should have access to services.
Absolutely.
So we ensure that there's a way for families to do that if they can.
Yeah, that's terrific. And, I know you don't see Red Deer, the mayor behind the wheel of a 2023 Dodge Hornet GT, maybe not even Deputy Mayor Daw. I'm not sure if this is his car this morning. But that's the grand prize here this morning. Pretty terrific. And a big shout out to the sponsors that you have here. These have been community partners for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Southside and Tsunami, Artemis Jewelers, Z99, Real 95 Service, and Minuteman. So tremendous, tremendous partners. I wish you all the best with this, Joanne. You know, your brand is strong in our city, and we're grateful. As I say, we're grateful for the work you do. So, Red Deer, this is Mayor Ken signing off today with Deputy Mayor Michael today. Thank you for being with us. Thanks to our friends at Shaw for another great broadcast, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.